Hi guys, Freddy here with another retro RPG, and this week I would like to present this, Dark Conspiracy by Lester W. Smith, a 1991 role-playing game by Games Designers Workshop, the makers of lots of role-playing games with dates in their titles, such as Space 1889, Twilight 2000, Traveller 2300, and lots of other great games. This was one of the last games that they released before they went out of business, and it's a really good game. As a group, we played a lot of this and had a lot of fun. It has some massive errors in it, which have led to me talking about the game on my site, and I can't remember if I've really mentioned it in the videos before, but we shall come to those. Let's go to the back cover first of all. Right. Shapes that rip and tear, shadows that live in corners, windows in space and time that lead to the realms of madness and decay, a dark, lurking horror that feeds off the echoing anguish of a billion tortured souls. This is the center of a twisted, sinister conspiracy which threatens the very existence of all humankind. Set in the near future, the world of Dark Conspiracy is dramatically altered from today and is fraught with peril and challenges. The Metroplexes, where most of the world's population lives, are a blend of lawless gang turf and corporate fortresses ruled by men and women powerful enough to be above the law. The countryside is sparsely inhabited, its natives suspicious and violent, and increasing areas of countryside are turning into Demonground, from which few humans return. When an ancient brooding evil is released from its dimensional prison, humankind's worst nightmares come to life. What is the link between this sinister horror and the mysterious holes in the ozone layer? The rise of empathically aware humans and the alien visitors from another star system. For the few men and women perceptive enough to recognize the danger and resourceful enough to fight it, the battle to recapture humankind's birthright will be long and costly. Can you push back the dark? And yes, that actually sums up the game very, very well. Far more so than many of the back covers I end up reading out on this. The situation is that in about 1983, I think it is, an underground temple is found, and people entering that temple break the magical seals on it, which release magical portals and demons into the world. Now, these portals, these holes in space, start appearing in, well, the game concentrates on America, but I suppose around the world, out in the countryside, and things start emerging from them. So whether they're actual demons themselves, which turn the ground into an absolute hellscape, or whether they're dark elves from a fantasy world who are coming out and staking out the forests of New Hampshire or wherever, or whether they're space aliens with death rays who are coming through and conquering little parts of America, are all becoming these clusters of people from other worlds. And humans have basically shrunk back into the cities, which have grown to be the size of some of the states at the edge of the country. And while there are towns and villages left across America where people just refuse to leave, because some people refuse to leave their homes and will fight to keep them, they're very suspicious of everybody because they get demons and aliens and fantasy races turning up from time to time and causing trouble. So if you just happen to wander into town, they don't know whether they can trust you. And it's a very interesting setup. If we go into the book, we can see Lester W. Smith wrote it, and the release date was indeed 1991 for the first edition here. The setup of the book is very nice. Games Designer Workshop by this time had got it down to a very fine art, and the art is indeed fine. It's a bit cyberpunky because it's near future, so there is some high-tech stuff, but not that far. In fact, it's probably about as near future as we are now compared to 1991. We've got a nice introduction to role-playing section, which goes through all that. Then we come on to the character generation. Now, Dark Conspiracy, like many of the Games Designers Workshop systems, operates where you generate your character at high school level. So at 18 or 19, when they emerge from high school, you've got their skills up to a certain amount. And then you have the choice of taking them through careers. So maybe they go into the military and they learn how to handle a gun. so your character can become more combat. And in 4-year careers, you age the character and they learn more and more. So if you want a really skilled character, you can take them up to like age 60. But they're going to have a lot of baggage to go along with that. Maybe they'll pick up wounds, or maybe they'll even die in combat. That was always a popular one in other ones. I'm not sure whether that's actually an option in Dark Conspiracy. But as the character gets older, they get some disadvantages that go along with that. As they get really quite old, their stats start to go down, which affects their skills. And you get to decide when they then start venturing, whether they're skilled or not, or whether they've got youth with them, whatever you want. Now, you set up their attributes. The game allows you to do random generation or points allocation. Nice to have the option. Got initial experience, so that's basically what they are at age 16, or 18, or 17. Haha, I've guessed at every age except the right one. You get your skills, whether they're going through secondary activities. So as they go through their 4-year periods, they can pick up certain skills. We'll come to that when we get to the careers, depending on their activities. We've got contacts, we've got the initiative, age, skills. So at age 33, effects of age may start to take their toll. So age 33 and you're past your best. Oh dear. Oh, I'm truly decrepit then. Starting money and initial equipment, skill improvement, and then we've got some sample characters to talk you through character generation. Now if I bring out the large, very colourful character sheet, handily stored in the back here, you can maybe see the character sheet a bit better. So we've got the attributes, so strength, constitution, agility, intelligence, education, charisma and empathy. And we've got skills underneath those. I will not go through every skill. The way the system works is you add your attribute to your skill to come up with a total value. So let's take the sample character here. They've got a strength of 8 and an archery of 2. So they will add those together to make 10. They'll roll a d10 against that. So for most mundane tasks when firing a bow, they will automatically succeed. It's only when the Games Master puts penalties on it, so you are rolling against half skill because it's more difficult, or quarter skill, or whatever, that they stand a chance of failing. Sometimes tasks are very easy and you're rolling against double skill. So even if you've got a 5, you'll always succeed. Now, one of the very notable oddities which was joked about back in the 90s with Dark Conspiracy is the fact that strength skills include archery, heavy weapons, melee combat, small arms, thrown weapons, but they also include mechanic. So the stronger somebody is, the better a mechanic they are. So the jokes were always about smack things hard and get them working. There's various other skills which you could question, and I much prefer the storyteller system, the White Wolf system, where you've got the skills separate and the Games Master decides which combination they do. So mechanic might work if you're trying to force a door or something, but if you're working on a car, it might be with your intelligence or your education to know the details of things. I much prefer that. It makes skills and attributes far more flexible, but this is the way Dark Conspiracy did it, which leads to some oddities. I will put that away again and we'll keep going through the book. Another sample character. Nobody with mechanics. And then we come to the careers. So we have education careers. So you can be an undergraduate university student or a graduate university student, or go to law school or medical school. And these are the skills you need to enter that career. You automatically receive those for being in it. So going to medical school, you'll get a medical school skill of 6. You get 1 contact. And after medical school, the character can enter the military with a direct commission as captain if desired. No secondary activities are allowed during medical school. No income is received while attending medical school. We've got military academy, we've got technical school. And then we're on to civilian occupations. So you can be an astronaut if you have an undergraduate degree and piloting 5. An athlete, an attorney, a bodyguard, a bounty hunter, a civil engineer. You can be in the clergy. So you can really make a weird character up who spent some time as an astronaut and then ends up becoming the clergy. So he goes out to space and finds God. We have cyborg escapee, we've got criminals, we've got commercial pilots, we've got drifter. Just loads and loads of careers which allow you to weave it together to make a very interesting character. Gang member, federal law enforcement, factory worker, farmer, government agent. You were homeless for a while. Entry, no prerequisite. You gain unarmed melee combat, observation, and streetwise. Subsequent term skills, so if you spend multiple times as homeless, if you've got contacts, you can contact journalists if you're homeless. Manager, martial artist, mechanic, just so many. Mercenary, mystic, idle rich, politician, prisoner, professor, prole, corporate welfare recipient. Prole was a common one I seem to remember people taking. What advantage does it give? No money is received. You get skills. I don't really see the advantages of it. I just seem to remember lots of people spending time on corporate welfare when they're creating their characters. There must be something in there. Or maybe we just like the idea. Psychic test subject. Then we're into the military ones. So you can be regular forces. You can be United States Marine Corps. A naval officer. A SEAL. A pilot. And then we're on to task resolution skills. But as you can see, you can just weave those together to make fantastically interesting characters. And that was one of the real benefits of the Games Designers Workshop system and Dark Conspiracy itself. Let's keep skipping forward. So, skill descriptions. I don't think we need to know what stealth does. Got some nice colour plates in here. The dark times, talking about the State of the Union. What happened to America. Very nice. As you can see, some bits are a bit Mad Max. There's lots of things which are a bit cyberpunk. Why's that guy got a tail? Ah, Demonground. Okay. Dark Minions, Demonground. Then we're on to combat. Skip through this. Again, lots of nice artwork. Games Designers Workshop really did their presentation A+. Bullets, nice artwork. Somebody shotgunning a bug man. Burst diagram. Android. That was something which came up quite a few times in our play. You could basically be an android instead of a human. And they were incredibly powerful. Was it android or was it the cyborg test subject? Whichever it was, you were immensely tough. So spending some time as an android was very nice. But as an android, you tended to be immune to gases and things, which tended to upset adventures. We got our androids killed off on a regular basis just because they didn't go along with adventures. They have no empathic abilities either. We've got vehicles, space travel, Ariane 4 and Atlas rockets, space shuttles. Oh, I missed the space shuttle. NASP. We have robots, because where would we be without cool robots? And then we've got the referee section, sorry, where we've got some nice background, the door to hell, the cities. So we set things up, lovely artwork, stuff about the technology, just setting everything up. The Dark Ones, information about them, and extraterrestrials, dark minions, Demongrounds, empathy, running adventures, all lovely, lovely stuff. I'm going to start skipping through in larger chunks now because we're coming towards the end. Sample NPCs, beasties, some of the monsters you might face. Yes, I was going to say a land squid, but it's not. It's some sort of Cthulhu-esque monster who's about to fight some bears. We're about to fight some wolves. Everybody's having a fight. I don't really see anything fantastical. Oh, there's a demon in there. That's what's fantastical. And some giant ants. A wrecked city, again with the demon. He gets around. And some large lizard things in the desert. A nice griffin. A dragon. So we've got the stats here. Assassinoids. Army ants. Bats. Camels. Large cats. Common bears. Dogs. Chimeras. Dragons. Manticores. Giant roaches. Slithers. Giant slugs. Somebody was watching their horror films this day, weren't they? Giant squids, spongies. Designing your own beasties. We've got the dark races, so lots of demonic looking creatures. Lots and lots of demonic looking creatures. We've got Mumra and Skeletor here. Just lots and lots of stuff. Darkling attributes. So we go through the races, animators, bloodkin, vampires, changelings, demons, cobra people, extraterrestrials of various types, fey folk including the dark elves, ogres, morlocks, the pale, undead, were creatures. We've got everything of fantasy and science fiction kind of thrown in here. Animator zombies, yellow zombies. Dark tech, which is their sort of biological demonic technology, biocomputers, cyborgs, death rays, and portable death ray. Now, the death ray was something, now this could be our games master going wrong, or it could be the system, but the damage of the death ray seemed to be so much that in one adventure we shot at some people hiding behind a car with our death rays, which we'd got because we were android cyborg test subjects. We'd come out of our testing with death rays we'd stolen off aliens. Now, they're very powerful weapons, but you've got a very limited magazine which you'll never be able to recharge. So basically you've got a good gun which will only last a short time. But these people were hiding behind a car that attacked us. We fired our death rays. The death ray went through the armor on the car, went through the people, and went through the wall behind them. Now that might have just been Game Master description, but it came out with us going, wow, these guns are too powerful. Adventures. So we've got some starting adventures in it for us. Interesting stories. And then we're on to equipment. I'm just going to skip through this. And then we're on to something very familiar to Twilight 2000 players, gatherings of weapons. An Armington laser pistol. Tranquilizer gun. It looks like these are absolutely just copied from Twilight 2000. And then we're on to vehicles, which in Dark Conspiracy has some very cool sort of muscle car looking things. A Mitsubishi Ferrari Kamikaze. Vans, Humvees, trucks, buses, yachts, tanks, okay, like a Martian war machine. It appears to be from a corporation though. And we've got some robots and walkers. And then we're onto some tables at the end. And more record forms. Let's have a look at the back side of the character sheet. Equipment, character sheet. And that's Dark Conspiracy. I really have to compliment it. I enjoyed it a lot at the time, and reading through it for this review, it's revived in me a lot of the excitement about the game, the possibilities. The career system's just so exciting and different from just sitting down and going, I want to play a elf fighter. I get this from my elf, I get this from my fighter, and I start leveling up. You can actually do something more interesting and go, yeah, well, I'm creating a politician who started on as a gang member and then redeemed himself through going to the military. And now he's discovered the truth, so he's going to be going out there and fighting demons. You can do something a lot more interesting with your character. And maybe you won't be able to, because he won't meet the prerequisites for the careers, so you end up playing something slightly different. But it's a lot of fun to make. I think I've probably rambled on enough about Dark Conspiracy, and I really loved it. Oh, actually, one more thing I do want to mention is it's similar in setup to Rifts, that portals to other places have opened up and things have come through. But where I expressed some concern about the hodgepodge nature of Rifts, where everything was just getting thrown in, while that exists in a certain aspect to Dark Conspiracy, I really feel that Dark Conspiracy limited it down more and came up with a more consistent system. I'm not saying for a moment that Dark Conspiracy is better than Rifts. Rift has some really amazing out there ideas. I just think that in implementation of the start of the game, Dark Conspiracy does it better. As I was having a conversation in the notes on my Rifts video this week, I really think Rifts would have benefited from a second edition to tidy things up. And on that bombshell, I will say goodbye. Thank you very, very much for watching. As always, please like and subscribe if you find this informational and useful to you at all. But most of all, you just look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.